नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैवं नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Good morning, welcome devotees. Today we are going to read and discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 4, text number 12. The topic is Sati quits her body. दोषान् प्रयेषां हि गुणेषु साधवो गृह्णन्ति केचिन्ना भवदादृशो द्विजा गुणंश्च फल्गुन् बहुलीकरिष्णवो महात्मास् ते स्वीयविदद् भवान् अघम् दोषान् प्रयेषां हि गुणेषु साधवो गृह्णन्ति केचिन्न भवादृशो द्विजा गुणंश्च फल्गुन् बहुलीकरिष्णवो महात्मास् महात्मास्ते सवि अविदत् भवान् agam. Synonyms: doshan, false; paresham, of others; he, for; guneshu, in the qualities; sadhavaha, sadhus; grihnanti, find; kechit, some; na, not; bhavadashaha, like you; dvija, oh twice born; gunan, qualities; cha, and; falgun, small; bahuli karishnava, greatly magnifies; mahatamaha, the greatest person; teshu, among them; avidat, find; bhavan, you; agham, the fault. Translation: twice born Daksha, a man like you can simply find faults in the qualities of others. Lord Shiva, however, not only find no faults with others' qualities, but if someone has a little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. Unfortunately, you have found fault with such a great soul. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Daksha is addressed here King Daksha is addressed here by his daughter Sati as Dvija, twice born. Twice born refers to the higher class of men, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas. In the other words, Dvija is not an ordinary man, but one who has studied the Vedic literature from a spiritual master and can discriminate between good and bad. Therefore, it is supposed that he understands logic and philosophy. Sati, Daksha's daughter, put before him sound arguments. There are some highly qualified persons who accept only the good qualities of others, just as a bee is always interested in the honey in the flower and does not consider thorns and colors. Highly qualified persons who are uncommon accept only the good qualities of others, not considering the bad qualities. Whereas a common man can judge what are the good qualities and what are the bad qualities. Among the uncommonly good souls, there are still gradations, and The best good soul is the one who accepts an insignificant asset of a person and magnifies that good quality. Lord Shiva is also called Ashutosha, which refers to one who is satisfied very easily and who offers to any person the highest level of benediction. For example, once a devotee of Lord Shiva wanted the benediction that whenever he touched someone on the head, that person's head would at once be separated from his trunk. Lord Shiva agreed. Although the benediction asked was not a very commendable because the devotee wanted to kill his enemy, Lord Shiva considered the devotee's good quality in worshipping and satisfying him and granted the benediction. Thus, Lord Shiva accepted his bad qualities as magnificently good qualities. But Sati accused her father, "You are just the opposite. Lord Shiva, although Lord Shiva has so many good qualities and no bad qualities at all, you have accepted him as bad and found fault with him. Because of your accepting his good qualities to be bad, instead of your becoming the most exalted soul, you have become the most fallen. A man becomes the greatest soul by accepting the goodness of other qualities, but by unnecessarily considering others' good qualities to be bad, you have become the lowest of the fallen souls." ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome devotees. I seek the blessings of every assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis to speak something meaningful for the pleasure of my spiritual master, our deity Shishi Nitai Gaurachandra Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Marani. So today we are going to read and discuss from 4:4:12. Our Sati is calling out about the incident that happened with his father Daksha. Daksha started accusing Lord Shiva as for his bad qualities, but in reality there is no bad qualities. So the translation: twice born Daksha, the man like you can simply find fault in the qualities of others. Lord Shiva, however, not only find no faults with the others' qualities, but if someone has a little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. Unfortunately, you have found a fault with the great soul. So, the twice born is very important. So, twice born means the first birth is the biological birth from the mother, and the second birth is given from initiation through the spiritual master. So that is why it is called Dvija, twice born. So twice born refers to higher class of men, whether it namely Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas. Of the four, like three are eligible for twice born. It's twice born is not an ordinary man, but one who has properly studied the Vedic literature from a spiritual master. And the outcome of thoroughly studying from the spiritual master leads one to properly discriminate between the good and bad. So the power of the mind is to has the discriminatory factor. It can discriminate whether it is material, spiritual, okay, and it can also identify whether it is good or bad. It's a it immersed in Vedic knowledge, and the teachings, guided teachings from the spiritual master, helps the person to always in the consciousness of Krishna. So the twice born person is not expected to look into fault findings, which is the greatest danger. And King Daksha, being a Dvija, twice born, he is simply finding a fault on the qualities of others. And secondly, he is finding a quality of fault finding on Lord Shiva, who has no faults. The nature of Lord Shiva is very, Srila Prabhupada has thoroughly explained here, um, very attractive and very, what to say, it's like it is very powerful. He has no faults, one. Secondly, even if someone has a little good quality, okay, a very, very tiny, insignificant good quality, he magnifies that. He only sees that, not the bad qualities. He only sees that good qualities, and he gives his mercy to that person. And that person for the qualities of Lord Shiva, who is looking into the insignificant good qualities and magnifying that, Daksha is finding fault on this person and accusing, and the Sati, who is the daughter of Daksha, she is arguing and accusing, how can you do this to my husband? So this is the context. And the Dvija, the person in Dvija, or the twice born, is, we talked about, he can understand the logic and philosophy. Okay. Logic is one part and philosophy is other part. He can discriminate, he can weigh between the both, and he can understand and present it in a nice way. Just logic alone will always not work. On the other hand, just philosophy alone will not work. So one who understands the Vedic literature and properly trained from the spiritual master and practices his consciousness in that way, like Lord Shiva, he can understand both logic and philosophy. So it's like a courtroom situation where Sati, the daughter of Daksha, is presenting all these things to his father, to her father. Like she is giving analogy, like just as a bee is always interested in the honey in the flower and does not consider thorns and colors, highly qualified person who are uncommon. It's very rare to see a highly qualified person, especially in this age and in the society, accepts only good qualities of others and not considering bad qualities. So we are living in a place where everyone is interested in finding the bad qualities of others, and he say, this is the chance. Whether it is a political, whether it is a family or neighbors, this is very predominantly present, looking for an opportunity to find a fault. And there are various levels of gradation. Srila Prabhupada is saying, like, even in our Vaishnava etiquette seminar, we learned there are many Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are very merciful, right? But there are three categories, like Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, Uttama Adhikari. Kanishta Adhikari is lower, Madhyama Adhikari is one who is elevated from the lower level, but not to the higher. And Uttama Adhikari are like a sannyasis and spiritual masters who are practicing for many years and thoroughly immersed in the knowledge. But in the Madhyama Adhikari, there are many gradations. Like it's like a color picker. If you see a color picker, there are a lot of colors. If you choose, okay, I'm going to pick a blue. There are a lot of a blue. In a common language, we can say royal blue, navy blue, sky blue, and there are levels of gradations from dark to light. Similarly, even if there are good souls, which itself is uncommon, and if there are good souls, there are a lot of gradations. And the best good soul, like Lord Shiva, is the one who accepts insignificant assert of a person and magnifies that good quality. So Lord Shiva is also Asha Dosha, one who is easily satisfied and who offers to any person highest level of benediction. So this is the nature of Lord Shiva, and how can Daksha be um, who is twice born and he is considered as the highest class of men? He is one of the Prajapatis, and he is directly appointed by Lord Brahma for a specific purpose. The purpose is to create progeny in this universe. And he has given a highest responsibility. He is considered as the Prajapati, and he is the higher class of men. This person cannot do the fault finding. Speaking about fault finding, it is called Kuti Nati in Bengali. Okay, and our scriptures and our acharyas has talked a lot about this. So let's go a couple of things. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, one of our acharya in our disciplic succession. Srila Prabhupada's guru is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his father is Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He has written 5 beautiful prayers in Sri Navadipa Bhava Taranga for receiving the mercy of Lord Nrsimha. These prayers are certainly assurance to all sincere devotees that worship the Lord Nrsimhadev and is purely in the lines of aspiring love and devotion to Radha and Krishna. E dushta kridaye kama atirupuchaya kuti nati pratistasa satya sadaraya hridaya sodhanara krishnera vasana narasimha charane moro ito kamana. So that meaning is explaining is, within my sinful heart the 6 enemies headed by lust perpetually reside, as well as a duplicity, desire for fame plus sheer cunning. At the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimha, I hope he will mercifully purify my heart and give me the desire to serve Lord Krishna. So, Kutinati, which is like duplicity and a lot of other things. But the center of all these things is fault finding. The center of the variance of duplicity is rested on fault finding. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that in my heart I have lust, the fault finding, duplicity, and other 6 more enemies. Like we learned about Madhamacharya, anger, lust, greed, all those things reside. And with this polluted environment in my heart, how is it possible for the Krishna to come and reside? So he is asking Lord Nrsimhadeva to purify so that I can aspire the love for Radha and Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you see in the light of scriptures from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he even adores the fault finder, his god brother Ramachandra Puri. Ramachandra Puri is one of his god brothers of my Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was fault finding in nature. He even adored that. What the lesson we learned from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, do not fault find. It creates consequence for us. It's not that I can do fault finding and just for fun. No, even for fun or even a casual dialogue that leads to fault finding has some consequences. Have a respect to the person instead of fault finding. He gives the remedy. If your mind, the mind is a friend and enemy. If your mind is insisting to find a fault, do not encourage that. Use your discriminatory intelligence, and that you are getting from the association of devotees. Even in devotees, fault finding is there. That's why it says that there are different levels of gradations, and take the inner strength in the association. Find the right person, observe it, how they are handling it, and take that as inspiration. If your mind is saying that, oh, this person made a mistake, he kept the Bhagavad Gita on the floor, that is a fault finding simple example. Okay, he kept it on the floor. We don't know why he did like that, but it is better to zip the mouth rather than encouraging the urge. Urge is vacho vegam. If we try to encourage our the words and say you did this, if you start pointing fingers and do the fault finding, that has a serious consequences. So he is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is say have respect to the person instead of fault finding. So this is my understanding about fault finding continuity, which is dominant and easily to catch on our in our nature. So we will have to be careful and not to fall prey for fault finding approach. And how Lord Shiva, on one hand, we are seeing Daksha, highest class progenitor, twice born Dvija. He is acting on fault finding. On the other hand, we have Lord Shiva, who is who has no faults, and he looks for any person who has a little good quality and he magnifies that. Yesterday, after reading this verse in the morning, I had a requirement to visit Aurora Temple to meet someone. I was meditating on these words, and it was quite morning time. No one was there, and hardly two or three people, along with the priest in the temple. I was meditating, and when I see the Lord Shiva, my heart melted, really melted. Like, wow, one Lord Shiva is, we always connect, we don't neglect. Srila Prabhupada has guided us about the milk and yogurt. Lord Shiva is considered as Vaishnavana Medashambho. And that with that mood, he is always in meditating mood. And who is meditating? He is meditating on the Supreme Lord, Hari. And here on reading this, the merciful nature, like one, he is looking at one good quality. And Sri Ramachandra is also like that. He says, Ramachandra is saying that even if Ravana comes to me and accept shelter, I am ready to give shelter. And here Lord Shiva is looking for one tiny bit of good quality and he magnifies and he looks at that. Just as a bee is interested only in the honey. So this is the wonderful quality. We can take that as our lessons from the scriptures. Instead of encouraging our mind to fault finding, on the other side, we can encourage our mind to see what is the good that we can see from this person, or what is that this person has done for me or to others, that I can think about it. How can I navigate the fault finding mentality and overcome this? I'm going to end here. If there are anything that I have said mistakenly, please use this time to correct. Or if there are any discussions or anything that you would like to add, please open up.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for a very wonderful class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I was thinking that it almost seems like, to look, consider, look at somebody and very truly appreciate their faults, sorry, their,
Good lesson.
truly appreciate their qualities,
Mhm.
uh, not being distracted by, their faults, requires oneself to be so much in control of one's thoughts and senses.
Yes,
And
go ahead, Prabhu,
in,
please.
and in the stage that we are in, our thoughts and mind is all over the place. So almost seems like, we are never in a good position to, be able to. I mean, our propensity to do fault finding is always there by default. And can you share a little bit on that side? Like,
Sure, Prabhu. I mean, it is like a firewall. So, if we are convinced that whoever we see, whether it is a Brahmana, whether it is a dog eater, Chandala, or a dog or a tree, if we are convinced that the super soul exists in that, that is the firewall, and the super soul in our heart will help us to create that boundary or the barrier and help us. It's a gradual process. So the urge which I was talking about, vacho vegam, like in the nectar of instruction, we have learned about that. And also in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that austerity of speech is very important. So we have to build this firewall so that we are protected. We see as the super soul, like a Pandita Samadarshina. So the Samadashina is everyone is equal because of the presence of the super soul. We see the super soul, not the body, not the color, not their qualities, what they do. There are so many things which distract us, the economical status and all those things. But the firewall, and we see the vision of spiritual vision, seeing the super soul, and that will help us to get to the mood. And I don't know, I cannot be like a Lord Shiva looking and magnifying that, but at least I can practice to control the urge to speech or say something loosely. So sometimes it's even, maybe it can be a loose talk in our general language, but that has a consequences. So with that knowing from the scriptures, we develop the faith of seeing others as spirit souls and not to deliver anything loosely. That's my contemporary understanding, Ganganaran Prabhu.
thank you. I'll remember the firewall. It's a very good analogy. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Is there any more questions? Any discussions? Not questions. Sorry. Take that questions out. And is there any more discussions that you would like to add? All right. Manjali Mataji, I saw you unmuted. Is there anything that you would like to add?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Okay.
Prabhuji, wonderful class, and this is like a very, it's this topic of fault finding is very near and dear to my heart, actually. So I was very happy to hear all the different, aspects that you were able to say about how to, not from the acharyas, how not to. Kind of start, have this fault finding tendency, and prevent that. So I also wanted to add, Prabhu, that I think, and this is like maybe, my concoction too, along with what I've heard. So I think something when someone is doing the fault finding is something in them that is like, we've always heard this, right? That hurt people. So they have some kind of low self-confidence or something about themselves when they're trying to do this fault finding. So one is like, even when you are on the other hand listening to someone having the fault finding, doing fault finding about someone else, is to give that compassion even to this person, giving the benefit of doubt, like, okay, this person is hurting. So not to like judge them either. As well as then trying to, help them understand, like, um, I mean, everyone has the good dog and bad dog in them, right? So trying to help them understand, like, try to find the good qualities, and as we said, Mahatama, right? Like the Uttama Adhikari, they they don't even look at faults. We, as on the other hand, we cannot do that in the stage. So for what I had heard was, I think this was from Amoghila Prabhu, that you start to glorify their good qualities and keep on glorifying the good qualities, and that's what's going to help you, because there's also some kind of envy in our heart about the other person when we feel to do the fault finding. And if that happens, when you start glorifying and seeing the good qualities and really, appreciating them, it may not be very genuine at first, but then, your heart and your mind your mind is a very, crazy thing, right? So eventually, when you keep on feeding the good things to it, even if you're not feeling it in the beginning, it will start seeing those good qualities. So first is introspection, that I also have faults. If this other person has faults, I also have faults. And the second is that, understanding that, you know, try to glorify and see the good qualities and appreciate them to the person. And then when you start doing this, eventually your mind will, change, at least somewhat. And if you're on the person where you're hearing it from someone else about fault finding, giving them the compassion, because that's also gonna help them be more prone to listening to us when we try to explain this thing of, try to appreciate them, and everyone has bad and good qualities. It's a matter of perception and everything. So
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to add all that. Prabhu,
No,
thank
no,
you so
good,
much.
thank you for adding that. I mean, like our Krishna consciousness is the Bhakti Bija is like a small little creeper. It's not
Yes.
even visible. So it's we have to act on time, place, and circumstances. Like
Right.
if someone senior is acting, we don't know how people will act. Senior in material sense.
Mm,
Best thing is we cannot go and defend it due to various reasons or something.
mhm,
We are not, but we have to safeguard our small little creeper, which is our Krishna consciousness in our heart.
mm,
So we should not feed too much of fertilizers and do a overkill activity just to please that person. So
right.
the best thing is at least come out. Oh, you know what? I had to go use the bathroom. Nobody said no, you have to stay here. And just get out from the situation very practically,
Mhm,
and spend some time at least, so that that person comes, or we are not encouraged, or we are not being present, and we don't want to receive it
right.
from us. Right. If we, like you said, like it's if we encourage, or if we will not be in a position to advise, like I also have a fault, and like it's not easy for us to go and give good advice, or to see like how Lord Shiva is seeing. Like we are in Naperville, Mataji, best town possible to act or say like Lord Shiva and do all those things.
Right. That is completely true. I was thinking more from the perspective of, like, when people who are your friends, so, like talking to you about someone, like, oh, I feel like this because of this, and like how you can help them. You let them vent, right? That fault finding tendency is there, but then at the same time, after you listen, you try to help them come out of that
Yes.
phase of
Yes.
not feeling in that sense.
Let them vent, but let's not feed their venting as a fertilizer.
Right.
That's we have to be
Exactly.
careful about it. That's also fall under the firewall analogy.
Right.
So, yeah, thank you for adding
Thank
Mataji
you.
846. Um, if I have said something incorrectly, that is absolutely my shortcoming. And if there is something that really touched the thing, it is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his writing, and our acharyas and the spiritual masters. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa
Kripa
sindhu
sindhu
bheva
bheva cha-
cha